One of the biggest mistakes when people move to Salem, Oregon isn't the house they choose, it's the area. Because every part of Salem offers a different lifestyle, and choosing the wrong area can completely affect the experience you have when living in Salem, Oregon. Before moving to Salem, my wife and I did some research to figure out what was going to meet our needs, our day-to-day lifestyles, and what we were really looking for when relocating, uplifting our family to Salem. And that's why I'm doing this video, because by the end of this video, you're going to figure out which area is going to be best for you and your lifestyle when relocating to Salem. And at the end of the video, I'm throwing in a bonus section about certain things that are unique to specific areas that may actually influence on whether you end up living there or not. The first neighborhood we're going to dive into are some of the quietest neighborhoods in Salem, Oregon. Now, this was important for my family and I. This is what we were looking for. We moved from a large city. We were tired of that hustle, tired of that buzz. We needed something that was going to be a little less stressful, less congested, and just somewhere where we felt we can relax and breathe. So what makes a quiet neighborhood quiet? For me, it means that you're away from major streets, so you're not hearing the noise from the traffic. You've got a lot of cul-de-sacs in the area to cut down on the cut-through traffic. Neighborhoods that have more space and just a little less congestion in total. So who is a quiet neighborhood ideal for? Well, for people that want to be a little bit away from it all, but still close enough to amenities, and just not being super connected to the main city vibe of Salem. When people think about quiet areas in Salem, they immediately go to parts of South Salem and West Salem. So we're going to start off in the south, and specifically south of Kubler Boulevard. Maps popping up so you can see where I'm talking about. And the reason why this is considered one of the quieter areas is because it's about as far south as you can get within the city limits of Salem. And it's really strictly residential. There's not much commercial around except for on the borders of like around Commercial and Kubler itself. But within the interiors, it is a lot of residential, mainly single family with some scattering of multifamily. So it is really quiet. And the only reason you'd be going in this area is because you live there or visiting family or friends. It is not an area where you're really cutting through to another part of Salem or to get to any freeways or to get to any businesses. And that's why it really lands on the quiet list for Salem. A lot of people end up choosing to live south of Kubler Boulevard because not just the quietness, but also because you're still close enough to a lot of the amenities, whether it's supermarkets, casual dining, retail, professional services. You're all within about 5 minutes, yet you can still live in this neighborhood and not really be affected by congestion and traffic and noise that comes from those commercial properties. Another contributing factor to the quietness of this neighborhood is that there's a lot of cul-de-sac streets. And so this limits the cut-through traffic. It also makes it great for kids to just go out in the street, play around, not have to worry about cars zooming through the streets or the neighborhood. Families feel safe letting their kids out, basically roam the neighborhood because they know they're pretty confined to those cul-de-sac streets. Staying in South Salem, we're going to move to a neighborhood called Bailey Ridge, again popping up in the map so you see where it is. This is a newer neighborhood, and again it's super quiet because you are on the outskirts of the city limits. You go just about a mile past this and you're going eventually into county property, and there's just farmland or large acreage property behind you. So again, not a lot of cut-through traffic. It's really quiet. The only thing I'll mention about this is that you do have a train that kind of runs through close to the neighborhood. So certain parts of that neighborhood, you're gonna hear some of the train noise. But as far as congestion and traffic and other outside noises, it is really quiet. It also butts up against kind of a luxury neighborhood called Illahee Hills Estates, which is a golf course community. So those also tend to be a little bit quieter. And this is one of those neighborhoods where you're only going to be in here basically if you live here or if people are visiting you, family, friends. Also with Bailey Ridge, it's a little bit on the upper scale side. So if you are looking for a quieter neighborhood on the outskirts of the city and something a little bit on the upper end of the price point, then this is a neighborhood you should definitely check out. The next region of Salem we're going to jump into for quiet areas, quiet neighborhoods is going to be West Salem. Now, West Salem is unique in that you have to cross over the bridge, cross the Willamette River to get to West Salem. And this pretty much explains why it is quiet, because no one's really crossing the bridge into this portion of Salem unless you live here, because there's some retail, some commercial, and there's amenities. For people that live in West Salem, you've got everything that you need. But for people on the other side of the river, they're not usually coming into West Salem. So it is a really tight-knit community for that reason, and it is really quiet. You're on the edge of the city limits, again, being in West Salem, especially if you are farther north and farther west within West Salem. You're surrounded by farmland. You're really close to wine country, and it's quiet. You feel away from it all. It's actually the area and the neighborhoods that my family chose to move to because we were specifically looking for quiet. We wanted space to breathe, but we just wanted to feel far enough away to feel like we weren't actually living in the city, yet really connected. We're only about 10 minutes away from being in the downtown portion of Salem, and that includes just crossing the bridge. West Salem is an area we're going to see random wild turkeys, wild roosters. You'll see deer crossing the road. It's really quiet at night. You're going to hear the crickets chirping, the frogs croaking, owls hooting. It's that type of neighborhood. The drawback is if you're someone that feels like you want to be a little bit more connected to the city, or you don't want to cross over the bridge, then Salem may not be for you. But if you're looking for that space, breathability, and just kind of that away feeling, West Salem is a neighborhood you may want to check out. Now, the next type of neighborhood we're going to jump into is kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum, and that is if you want to live closer to the vibe of the city, easier access to downtown, then this section is going to be for you. The neighborhoods that we're going to talk about right now are within like 5-minute drive of downtown Salem, or just a couple blocks away to either walk there, nice bike ride. Either way, it's going to be very close and surrounding the downtown area. We're first going to start off in Bush's Pasture Park neighborhood, which is a historic neighborhood just south of the downtown area by a couple of blocks. Beautiful, quiet neighborhood. It is centered and grounded by Bush's Pasture Park, which is a massive urban park right in the center of this neighborhood. It is a large park that is home to many events throughout the year, including the annual art festival here during the summer, walking paths, large old growth trees, and they have meandering paths along a river. They've got sports courts and baseball fields and more right in the heart of this neighborhood. The neighborhood is known for its craftsman-style homes, bungalow-style, old-growth oak trees throughout the neighborhood. Spring really pops there. People really love planting their spring flowers in this neighborhood. And it is really close to the downtown area. So if you're someone that thinks you're going to really want to be part of that vibe of the downtown area, this is going to be a good place for you to check out. So you can be close to your favorite restaurants, some of your unique or boutique type shopping, your favorite coffee spots. You've got your historic theaters down there. If you like that downtown vibe and you want like this historic feel, then Bush's Pasture Park would be a great place for you to start looking for a home. Adjacent to Bush's Pasture Park is the Fairmont Hills section. It's actually where the governor's mansion is. This is a little bit higher end, but still really close to the downtown area. Again, historic homes. These homes are a little bit elevated on hillsides, so you can potentially have some really cool views in this part of Salem. And like Bush's Pasture Park, it has some charm because it has a lot of more older historical homes. There's a lot of homes here that were built when the city was kind of founded. So a lot of the founders of the city, the who's who of the city, lived in this particular neighborhood. It's also, I would say, lands on a little bit more on the quiet area, because it is one of those neighborhoods that you're not really going to cut through. It could have made it to the quiet neighborhood list section that we talked about previously, but I'm including it as part of the downtown area because I still feel like it's more connected to the downtown area than it is more so on the outskirts of Salem. So if you're looking for a little bit more higher end, again with a historical factor, maybe some hillside property with some views, and yet close to the downtown area, Fairmont Hills area may be a place to look at. Now, if you still want to be close to downtown, yet maybe your budget's just a little bit lower, you want to go a bit north of the downtown area into the Grant and Highland areas. Again, you're going to find some historical homes, bungalows, and craftsmen here as well. The homes are a little bit smaller, the lot sizes are a little bit smaller, and there are a lot more homes here that you can get into and revitalize yourself, make it your own. I will say when you live into historical districts, just to make sure to check if you are in the historical zone, because there are some restrictions when it comes to buying these types of homes. But like Bush's Pasture Park, again, you're just a couple of blocks away. So if you're someone, again, that likes to get into that downtown area, frequent it often, and you want to be in the heart of the city and be a little bit less expensive than the two first areas, then this Grant and Highland area would be a great spot for you to check out. Sometimes these neighborhoods are appealing for people that are moving from larger cities because they still want to feel connected. They want that vibe, they want that buzz of the city itself. Again, not anything like a large city, but you still have more of that connection to the heart of the city when living in these areas, and it could be appealing for people from larger cities that still want that lifestyle. And you're going to hear me say lifestyle throughout this video a bunch because that's why people move to Salem. They're looking for a specific lifestyle like my family and I did, and that's why I do these videos. I want to remind you that I am Dave Fine with eXp Realty, and I love helping people relocate to the city of Salem. When you are looking to buy a home here, make sure you hit me up at the contact information popping up. I help a lot of people with their relocation needs because I understand what you're going through, a lot of the questions and concerns that you may have, because I'm not a local. I went through the process. I get it. So I'm here. Make sure you reach out thinking about buying a home. Now, let's say you're moving to Salem, Oregon, and you're looking for more of that luxury neighborhood. Well, this section is going to be for you because we're going to hit on some of our more luxury areas, a little bit more price point, which that means is larger house, larger lots, a little bit more privacy, and potentially some really cool views of the valley or the downtown area. All of these neighborhoods that we're going to talk about today are going to be in the southern section of Salem. We're going to start off with Illahee Hills, the estates over there. I mentioned it in the first section. This is a golf course community, but they also have large acreage property in this area as well. If you're someone that loves golf and you want to be part of that golfing community, then this neighborhood is going to be there for you. It's a private golf club with an amazing clubhouse, really cool pool, beautiful grounds, some really great views. It's pricey, but again, if you're looking for that type of neighborhood, this is going to be for you. Now, you don't have to be a member of the actual golf course. You can still live in the neighborhood and still enjoy all that it has to offer. A lot of rolling hills with beautiful views, really quiet. No one's really going through this neighborhood unless you live here or going to the golf course. And so it cuts down on a lot of that traffic. And you don't really hear any noise from the city, not affected by that at all because you're a little bit elevated and you're above it all. And you can see great views of the valley, great views of the downtown area, depending on where your house is situated. So check this neighborhood out if this sounds appealing to you. The next place we're going to talk about is Croissant Mountain. This is a little hillside neighborhood that is, the only access is through a private road. It's not gated, but it is a private road, one way in, one way out. So again, it's going to be really quiet, really private. People just who are in the neighborhood, it's because you live there. And this is complete hillside. You've got a lot of views from this particular vantage point when living in this neighborhood. It's actually just about maybe 5 minutes away from Illahee Hills, but it puts you a little bit closer to the city itself. So getting inside to downtown or any type of grocery store shopping or any type of shopping, casual dining, whatever it is, really makes it easy. You just go down the private road down the hill, you jump onto River Road, shoot into downtown, and you're there. No problem, really easy to do. Next on the luxury neighborhood list is going to be Chinook Estates. This is probably one of the most expensive areas that you're going to find in Salem. And technically, it's not in the city itself. It's outside the city limits. You're going to be in the county at this point. But these are large estate properties that have lots of land, 2 to 14 acres for each house. And they are really spaced out. So you get a sense of privacy, you get a sense of space, you can get some spectacular views here of the Cascade Mountains and the valley and the farmland that surrounds the Chinook Estates area. Beautiful meandering roads, hillside property, yet you still have a lot of flat land to enjoy your actual lot that you're living on. Again, this could have made it onto my quiet neighborhood list because it is really quiet given that you're on the outskirts of the actual city itself, but I'm putting it in the luxury place because it is one of the more pricier neighborhoods when it comes to living in Salem. Just a little bit of a warning, when you're going into this neighborhood, you are going to be on septic systems and wells, most likely, not connected to those types of city services. So if that's something that is not appealing to you, then you may want to look at some of the other luxury neighborhoods that we're talking about in this section. But if that is okay with you, this neighborhood, this area is quite amazing. I love driving through it, just the views and just how quiet it is. Really beautiful spot to live in Salem. And rounding out our list for luxury neighborhoods is going to be Mount Kubler. This is a very small neighborhood, maybe about 10 homes or so, right off of Kubler Boulevard. It's basically at the end of Kubler in South Salem. And this is where you have large estate-style properties, a very tight community because there's only so few homes. Private road, it's not gated again, but private, and only one way in, one way out. No one's cutting through your neighborhood. And the cool thing about this particular spot is since you're already on Kubler or off of Kubler, you can just shoot down Kubler and you're about maybe 5 to 7 minutes away from any of your commercial needs, your amenities that you would want, yet far enough away from it and feeling a sense of privacy, place to breathe, with large homes and large properties right there in the Mount Kubler area. Now on the other end, let's say you're moving to Salem, Oregon, you're looking to buy a home, maybe it's your first time purchase, or you're just looking for something a little bit more value, then this section is going to be for you. We're going to talk about neighborhoods that provide the best value, the least expensive way to buy a home into the Salem area. So when thinking about entry-level homes or more value, we're going to be talking about portions of North Salem, Northeast Salem, January area, and these are going to be essentially, we're going to be talking about east of Lancaster. So between Lancaster and Cordon Road. This is a large swath. It's a big area of Salem. It's kind of lumped into one as North and Northeast Salem, but this is where your most value is going to be. What makes this neighborhood popular is not just the value you're going to get and the entry into home ownership in this area. It's because you're really close to a lot of cool things and amenities. Because you're close to Lancaster Boulevard, you've got all your shopping needs, all your casual dining needs. This is where the Willamette Town Center is going to be. So our big outdoor, big box shopping center is, movie theater. You're going to have Target over there, a Walmart. So everything that you would need is right there along Lancaster. What people really love about this particular spot too is that you're on the edge of the urban growth boundary, which means you have the farmland really close to you. And that just gives you that sense of space, a little bit of breathing room that you actually surprisingly get in an area that provides so much value when buying a home. Some of my favorite U-Pick farms are going to be there by Fordyce Farm and Easy Orchards. And so when you're going along Cordon Road, that's basically the most eastern road you're going to find in Salem. You've got farmland right on the other side of it. And that actually puts you closer to Silver Falls, which is a beautiful hiking area with 10 waterfalls. So you're sitting really in a good spot. You're also really close to Interstate 5 freeway. So if you're someone that needs to commute or likes to commute, or whether you're going into Portland or going south into Eugene or wherever you're going, it makes really easy and convenient. So not only can you move to Salem and find entry-level homes with good value, but it also puts you really close to everything that you would want and need, and some of the entertainment or agritainment, like I like to call it, when it comes to living in Salem. Most of the homes that you're going to find here are ranch style or mid-century homes. The lot sizes aren't necessarily as large, and there's a little bit more homes or more homes that are closer together here in this area than you would find in some other parts. You may find some congestion going in from this area and out to the downtown area, just because there's a little bit more people living in that area. But again, if you're looking for value entry-level homes, this would be a good spot for you to look for. Now, if you're moving to Salem, Oregon, and you're looking for more of a commuter-friendly neighborhood that's close to Interstate 5 freeway, because you're going to be accessing it often, then this section, these neighborhoods are going to be places that you may want to consider. Now, we have a little bit of an overlap, so I'll touch briefly on it, but the northern sections of Salem are going to put you a lot closer to Interstate 5 freeway, because getting access to Interstate 5 freeway is not the easiest when living in Salem. If you live in West Salem, it's about 20-25 minutes away. Depending on where you are in South Salem, it could be the same. And so if you are someone, again, that's going into Portland or just traveling for work to different areas along the Willamette Valley, or going south into Eugene, or just basically utilizing that section, then North Salem is going to be your best bet, because it's a straight shoot. You've got several ways to reach the Interstate 5 freeway, so making it easy access. Now, the other neighborhoods we're going to talk about aren't technically in Salem. They're in Keizer, which is basically our sister city to the north. I think of it as kind of a big suburb of Salem. Talk to people that live in Keizer, they would highly disagree. It has its own city services, its own city council. It's technically its own city. However, it's to me, they're very similar. But it makes it a lot easier to access Interstate 5 freeway when you are living in Keizer, especially the northern sections of Keizer, and when you're considering areas close to the Keizer station, which is a more updated, larger, outdoor, big box shopping center. Similar to Willamette Town Square, but bigger and more updated. When living in Keizer, you do have a lot of options depending on the house and budget that you have. If you're looking more for value, you're going to be looking a little bit more east of River Road. If you're somewhere in between, be west of River Road. River Road is the main street that cuts right through Kaiser. It's actually the street you're going to be going to frequently for any type of your amenities, your grocery shopping needs are going to be right there along River Road. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more luxury or higher end, then you're going to be looking at McNary Estates Golf Course Community. That's in the northern section of Kaiser. And so I'd say the more north you are in Kaiser, the easier access to Interstate 5 freeway. Also easy access to MLK or the 99, which is a street that connects you through Salem and Kaiser and into the Interstate 5 freeway. So you've got a lot of access. And so if that's important to you commute-wise, then those areas are going to be places that you're going to want to look for. Now we're going to talk about neighborhoods with unique amenities that may be a bonus or may sway you on whether or not that neighborhood is going to be the right fit for you. If you're moving to Salem and you want to be really immersed into the wine culture, the wine country here in the Willamette Valley, then we're going to bring up West Salem again. West Salem puts you within 5 to 15 minutes of hundreds of wineries and vineyards throughout the Willamette Valley. And so it makes it really easy to be members, frequent these wineries for events, and just be part of that culture. And so a lot of people love the wine that comes out of Willamette Valley. We're known for Pinot Noir varietals, but we've got many varietals here in the Willamette Valley. And so if you're someone that's going to be frequenting these places, then just want that as part of your lifestyle, your almost not your daily lifestyle, depending on your drinking habits, but your lifestyle overall, West Salem might be a good spot for you because it is right in your own backyard. We love going to these wineries. I love actually just driving through the vineyards and the wineries and the farmland out there. It's a bonus, not the reason I chose West Salem, but it was a little bonus for us when considering our neighborhoods. Now, if golfing is important to you, we mentioned Illahee Hills, but it is really expensive to join that country club. So if you're looking for something that's a little less expensive, but still a little bit more private with a membership fee, you're looking at Creekside Estates. That neighborhood there has a golf course. It's a golf course community. It's a really beautiful spot. It is south of Kubler, so it's going to be quiet. And again, it's one of those neighborhoods that doesn't really connect to other neighborhoods, so you're not going to have a lot of cut-through traffic. Beautiful homes there, a little bit more contemporary homes that are in this particular neighborhood. And they've got an amazing golf course there with a pool as well and a clubhouse. They've got a restaurant there, a steak place that just opened up recently. And so it's very inviting for people that want that type of lifestyle. You see golf courts roaming in and out of the neighborhood. People really immerse themselves into the golf culture here. If you're looking for a neighborhood that is anchored by a central park, we talked about it before, Bush's Pasture Park. So if you're someone that loves the nature and the outdoors that Salem has to offer and you want that park right next to you, then that's a great option for you because again, it's the heart of the neighborhood. And it's right in your backyard with many events to attend to and on your daily, just beautiful walking paths to relax. Again, I mentioned there's a creek, old growth trees, just a beautiful spot. And I love that it's just connected and it is the main focal point of this neighborhood. If you're moving to Salem and you're thinking new construction, there have been and continue to be a lot of new construction projects. There's one in South Salem, again, south of Kubler, Verona Heights. It's still being built. There are places that have been finished and have sold, but there are still plenty of great opportunities to come into this neighborhood. It's quiet. It's elevated, so some of these homes do have some really cool views. But if you're looking for new construction, this is a great place to take a look. They've got some great pricing, great floor plans. You do have a little bit of lot space there. Again, a lot of these new construction homes, they are shrinking the lot sizes. These developers are packing in the homes. But new opportunities, new construction, I would start there to take a look, especially if you want a quieter spot, new construction. One of the most unique neighborhoods that we have here in Salem, I call it an agrihood, they call it an agrihood, is the Pringle Creek neighborhood. Now this is also in South Salem. It's tucked away. You wouldn't even know it's there. Again, there's really there's maybe two ways to get into this neighborhood. This is a very interesting kind of a communal agricultural neighborhood. You have a lot of homes in there with all different types of styles. The homes tend to be a little bit smaller, but it's really not about the home when living in this section. It's about community. There is a communal greenhouse. There is a community garden, community orchards. There's walking paths throughout the community. It's what I call a front porch community where people are just hanging out, sitting on their front porch. Big reason is because there's really no backyards to a lot of these homes. There's a real emphasis on bringing community together. I know how many times I'm going to say community in this section, but it's just that's what this neighborhood is about. The neighborhood has its own coffee place, which is really cool. There's communal rec rooms that can be rented out for different events. It just really brings everyone together, and it's tucked away. It has its own vibe. It's really eccentric. It's unique. It's something that you don't come across all that often. It's really the only one of its kind in Salem. And so I love it because it has that inviting nature. I mean, when you share your bounty of your garden and your crops and your fruits and your vegetables, all for everybody in the community to share, I think it's a pretty cool way if that's the lifestyle that you're looking for. So when moving to Salem, Oregon, there's definitely a lot of factors to consider, but lifestyle is probably the number one thing. Home is important, the house you buy is important, but where you live is probably even more important. So whether commute is a factor, budget is a factor, pace of life, whether you want to be more in the vibe and the buzz of the downtown area, or maybe you want to be a little bit more in the outskirts, all these play a role and will really determine your experience when moving and relocating and buying a house here in Salem. I know it did for my family and I. When we considered all of these, we ended up choosing West Salem. That made the most sense for us, for the lifestyle that we were looking for. And I understand what it means to go through all of this research and figure out what is going to be best for you, especially in a place that you may not be all that familiar with. And since I understand that, make sure you reach out to me when considering buying a home, when relocating to Salem, Oregon. My information is popping up. I love helping families with those needs because I went through it myself. There wasn't a lot of this information out before, and that's why I do these videos, to help guide you through the process and moving and relocating to Salem. Check out the videos that are popping up now. They will also help you and give you more information about life in Salem.